friend, welcome back to my channel. Today we are talking all about the latest items that I have finished off. Got quite a few different things to talk about, so as per usual I will leave categories down below in case you want to jump around at things that most excite you. Meanwhile, I think we're gonna go ahead and kick it off with makeup items. We'll start with a boring makeup item, and that is the e.l.f. Daily Brush Cleaner. This stuff is a necessity in my entire makeup routine. Basically at the end of my routine, I spritz each brush, quickly wipe it off onto the face cloth that I have that I use for like wiping my fingers and other stuff onto when I put makeup on. And it just helps keep my brushes clean and color free so that I can take a new brush every single day and know that I could have used it yesterday or the day before, and it's still going to be able to be used for whatever shadow I'm applying. This stuff is great, but sadly I can only seem to find the original smaller size. The jumbo size seems really hard to come by, so I'm blowing through these, but still love it, would definitely recommend. I've also got some primer items here. I have an eye primer. This is the Milani eyeshadow primer. This stuff has a cult following and I think it's very well deserved. I believe this is my second one of these. I like this one a lot because you're basically getting a high-end-esque product for a fraction of the price, and it lasts a really long time. You don't need much of this. And what I like about it is it basically like adds a nice even layer onto my eyelids, and then it basically gives me a little bit of stick, not too much where it makes it hard to blend, but it just helps my shadow adhere and stay on all day. This stuff is lovely. I'm currently working on the ColourPop one that they came out with because I'm just a sucker for trying different things. And I think this one's a lot better, so I'll probably go back to this. Not probably, I will go back to this once I'm done with that ColourPop one because this stuff is just exceptional and totally worth the praise and love that it receives in the YouTube world. The other primer that I have is a deluxe sample from NYX. It's the Marshmallow Primer. I bought this because I just needed to get like some extra bucks into the cart to be able to not have to pay for shipping, and this was the same as actually paying for shipping. This lasted me a long time for the size of it. You don't need a ton of it, and what I like about it is it gives me a little bit of pore filling, but it basically is like a nice hydrator of my skin, which I feel like if I didn't have another product that I'm trying to use up for that same purpose, I would have gone out and purchased this full size. For this time of year, I prefer a more of a like glowy or hydrating or just soft plumping type of hydrator to my primed face because I am very dry this time of year and I tend to wear a lot of matte foundations, and applying a matte primer and a matte foundation on top of it is just not a great mix for me. I start to look a little like vampire-y and that I haven't seen the outside world. And so I feel like this is a nice job of helping balance the matteness that I prefer in my foundations. I will say NYX is pretty pricey for a drugstore brand. Like they're on the top of the scale, but they do make quality products. So I am a fan of this and might this year end up buying it if I finish off the Becca highlighter that I'm using as an all-over face primer right now. I do have one more face primer, and it's from Joa. It's their Instant Prime Activator. It's their hydrating and brightening primer. This is nothing bad. I think I prefer the textural experience of the NYX one a little bit better. So I'll always use these samples when they come my way. They typically come about because whenever I place an Impress order, they toss a couple of these in there. So I'll keep using them, but I haven't been swayed to necessarily want or feel compelled to buy a full size of this. Final makeup product that we have is an eyeliner. This is the ColourPop collaboration with The Night Before Christmas liner in black. They call it Scream Queen, and it had just like fun Before Christmas snowflakes on it. This is my first go around with a liner from ColourPop. The tip is not terrible. It's a little bit bigger than the NYX Hella Fine, but smaller than the House Laboratories liner felt tip. What I didn't like about this was, one, I've not had this super long. This came out, I wanna say like November, maybe the beginning of December, and it's already used up for me. I think part of the reason why I'm calling it used is because very quickly it stopped being able to make like a nice opaque line. Like I'd have to go over it multiple times in order for it to fully have a black strip, which is just a nuisance. There are so many great liners out there that are the same price, if not a little bit less than this or a little bit more than this, that I don't have to fuss with. And it just, like I said, didn't take very long for me to get to that point. So I'm all set with this. Probably won't buy a ColourPop eyeliner again, but I will say, just while we're here, I do enjoy when collaborations come out. I do like it when companies decide to take something that already exists like this and just put some fun packaging on it. Because for me, I'm more inclined to buy it if I'm like, oh, I need a black eyeliner, I'll get the one with the fun packaging versus having to buy like an eyeshadow palette every time. Don't get me wrong, I love a good eyeshadow palette, but I just prefer this type of collaboration as well. So happy to see this type of thing happening, but just didn't really love the product. Whole bunch of skincare items to discuss with you. A bunch of like full-size items that I finally worked through. So the first one I have is Trader Joe's. It's their Ultra Hydrating Gel Moisturizer with aloe and green tea extract. I was inspired to pick this up after doing their 2020 advent calendar. It really exposed me to a lot of their body and skincare, and this lasted forever. It had 2.5 ounces. I believe it retails for less than $10. Texturally, a lovely experience. Nothing super fancy in here in regards to like experience, but it was just pleasant on my face. I feel like it's tough for me right now to fully assess skincare because my skin is a lot drier than usual. I was using it in the morning and I got by with it, but I feel like if you're somebody who has drier skin, this is not enough for you. I think this would have been better for me to use in the spring or fall when my skin can be a little bit more oily based or can lean a little bit more oily because it is very moist and like damp in the climate that I live in, but it's a good product. I would definitely recommend it, and I may feel inclined to buy it again in the future. Other one that I have is from Derma E. It's the Skin De-Stress Calming CBD Moisturizer. This stuff is super thick. I don't know why I bought this because it's not meant for my skin type. It wasn't meant for my skin type when I first purchased it. And so it lasted a really long time in my collection because I could only use it during certain points in the year. Case in point, it worked well for me right now because my skin's really, really dry, but that's not normally the case. So I wouldn't recommend it. I also didn't love the scent of it. I think I ended up just buying it because I wanted to try Derma E, and this is all like Ulta had for night creams, but I just don't feel like it was the right line for me. Then I have a go-to staple that I love from Murad. It's the Outsmart Acne Clarifying Treatment. It's a great serum. I do have to take a break from it though because my skin adapts to it. So I'll come back to this after I finish off a couple of other serums. I have repurchased it multiple times. This stuff is super worth the cash. It is not inexpensive, but I do feel like it really does help effectively keep and combat my acne that tends to happen, but doesn't typically happen when this stuff is in the lineup. I have a cleansing balm. So I fell down a SheGlam hole and placed a whole like SheGlam order that I've been slowly like testing stuff out for. Case in point, this liner situation I got going on here is a SheGlam product, but because I am such a cleansing balm fiend, I decided to try out this Rose Reset Makeup Removal Balm. It's tiny. I had no idea it was going to be this tiny. This stuff is just I feel like it didn't really effectively remove my mascara, and I was having to use a lot of it. And even then I would still have like a little bit of raccoon eye when I get out of the shower, because that's typically when I remove my makeup, is at night in the shower. Wouldn't recommend this, wouldn't say it's anything worthwhile, and just pass on this all around. Got a bunch of masky products. I have a Sephora hand mask. This stuff is great. Hand masks are great. I just have a really hard time just sitting wearing a hand mask and not like being on my phone or doing anything else for my job. So it's hard for me to use these, but I love them. They really are helpful for my hands. My knuckles are cracking. It's really, really bad. So I need to get back on the horse and use them, but they are great. I will tell you, Sephora offers lots of different scents with different claims. They're all the same. They're all good. Definitely recommend. Two from my Face Story box. I've got from the Face Story line, the Moon Velvet Moisturizing Cream Mask. Good Lord, this mask had so much cream saturated into it. It was dripping when I pulled it out of the packet. It left a lot of drip on my face. It took a while for it to absorb. Very lovely texture, very soft mask, but you gotta be ready to really let it soak in afterwards. And this was left on my face for 20 minutes like they recommend. So really hydrating and really lovely, but definitely a lot of product packed into here. Not a Face Story mask, but from my Face Story box, I have the Bling Pop nail mask. So whole story here. This is basically a hand mask, but just for like little fingertips. Fun in theory, terrible in practicality. These were really hard to put on because as you are starting to separate them and put them on your fingers, you like run out of finger friction to be able to pop them open. So I was using tweezers to open some of them. The other part that was really hard is because they only came to about here, I kept feeling like, even though I wasn't doing any activity, I was just sort of sitting there, I kept feeling that they were falling off. So I kept having to push them on. You're better off just with a hand mask. Just go for a Sephora hand mask over it. It's a lot easier. It's less maintenance. It's less work / frustration. So like I said, I was pumped to try it out. And again, credit for doing something different. But in actuality, in real life, not a great experience. Would not recommend. I have one of the Cala Revitalizing Under Eye Patches. These are supposed to help reduce the fine lines, wrinkles, dryness, and puffiness, and they are gel type. I feel like this is true of all under eye patches. I've never come across an under eye patch that does more for me than a really hydrating eye cream. And for someone with really dry under eyes, I'm gonna stick with the eye cream. These aren't hurting me by any means, but they're not super amazing and knocking me off my socks, so wouldn't recommend. Then I've got a set of face wipes. These are the Soap & Glory Off Your Face 3-in-1 Daily Purifying Cloths. I use these to basically just wipe swatches, which I don't do a ton of on my channel, so they've lasted me a really long time. They're not the most saturated. I don't really recommend them. They were okay, but if I had paid for them to take my makeup off, they do not feel nearly as saturated as the ones from Neutrogena or even from Simple, so wouldn't recommend these. Two perfumes that I'm saying goodbye to, both from 400 Cookie Soap. So I have the Princess of Heart Crystal Perfume Oil. This is essentially a lush rose jam-esque scent, but for some reason, I don't love the smell of it on my skin, and it's a perfume oil, so it would have to really amaze me for me to want to keep it, and it does not, so it's out of here. And then I also have the Sunrise Dual Phase Perfume. This, I have like gone through phases with it, where there are sometimes I like it and sometimes I don't. And I'm just sick of it. Like, I just don't really love it. I feel like the sprayer is not great texturally, even though they call it a perfume. There's definitely like some oil up in here. So just gonna part with it because the perfumes that I have, I really like. So I'd rather focus on those versus two that I'm just kind of on. We now have some body products, 3 of which come to us from Fortune Cookie Soap. I've got a bar soap. It's the Buzz Your Girlfriend Woof. Oh, love that movie, but didn't love the smell of this. I don't know what it was. It was just okay. Nothing super good to write home about. I don't buy their bar soaps. I just tend to amass them in things like seasonal boxes, like holiday boxes, or in get what you get bags. This is where this one came from. So I used it, but nothing amazing. I also have my second Zero whipped cream. Their whipped creams are such a lovely texture. They are just great. Scent of this was very much of a like baking cinnamon type of fall scent. Loved it, enjoyed it, happy to have worked through it. And my second one came to me from my Christmas advent calendar, which was Year That Is Santa Claus. Love that movie, but it was the body frosting. What makes these different from their whipped ones is that these basically are a hardened lotion. When you mix them in your hand, they turn into an oil, which I don't like. I do not like feeling oily, but God, was this scent good. This gave me Boom Boom Cream. Yeah, Sol de Janeiro Boom Boom Cream vibes. It was so good. If this had not been the body frosting and actually had been the whipped cream, I would have been beside myself with it because it's just a magical scent, but not the greatest application methodology. And then scrub. I have finished off my Soap & Glory Smoothie Star Breakfast Scrub. Of course I have. This scrub is great. It not only smells like pancakes, which is great, but it also is very abrasive, and I just really enjoy the texture of this. I do have another one of these. I purchased for myself a like holiday, it was like the breakfast holiday kit that they came out with. It was on like a small sale from Walgreens, so I picked it up. So I'm happy to have a second one in my collection to try out other things in this particular range, because I did not know they had more than just the scrub in their Smoothie Star collection. So this stuff is great, highly recommend. I have some nail items. I've got good old faithful, the Kiss brush on nail glue. Love this stuff. We'll keep using it over and over again. It just works well for me with applying on top of the like stickers that come with the impressed nails. So definitely we'll see more of these in my future. Got one set of impressed nails, the ones that I currently have on. These came from their Valentine's collection. I purchased nearly all the nails that they came out with from Dashing Diva and Impress for Valentine's Day. These ones are called Lovely Day, and they had these really pretty, excuse my like really dry hands, dry cuticles, just move past it for a second here. But they had these really pretty like confetti nails, and then these hearts along with just like the nice pink. Wore these back to back, really loved these. There's a real chance if I go on the website again and they're still in stock, I might buy another box of these for next year because they're precious. And while they're very Valentine's-y, I think that they could be worn like in the spring too. These were great, definitely recommend. A couple of just like one-off items. So I have my Happy Trail leave-in conditioner from Fortune Cookie Soap. This I was using in my Project Use It Up for 2021, but hadn't quite finished it when the year rolled over. This has been a heat protectant spray. Scented this, was nice. I do think it was helpful as a heat protectant spray. I wouldn't buy these for that reason, but if I amass one through like a holiday box or a get what you get bag, I would use it for that purpose because it works fine for the job. We've got Q-tips, the precision tips. These I buy off of Amazon in like a 3 or a 4 pack, and how I use these are to clean up under eye makeup. I tend to be a messy gal, so I have to do like an under eye sweep with some makeup remover before I go ahead and do my face application after my eyes are done, and these are great for that. I like them because compared to other pointed tip cotton swabs, these are not too hard, and they're good because both sides are pointed. I've tried a whole array of these. I think these are hard to find in store, and these are just the best of the best, so I will keep buying them off of Amazon. Final items that we have are bath items, because yes, your girl's been taking so many baths, she has enough items to give it its own category. I'm someone who typically is prone to baths in the winter anyways, but I've gotten real into baths lately. As I sit in front of you, I'm 39 and a half weeks pregnant, so we're like real into the thick of this pregnancy thing. And I've noticed at night, the last like month, I come home and after I eat dinner, I just like puff. Like I lose my ankles, my fingers are fat. I haven't been able to wear my ring, my engagement and wedding band in over a month now because my fingers will probably look it to you, but they are puffier than they normally are. It's like a whole thing. And baths, I think, help just with the fluid buildup and also like making me feel less massive and ginormous. So most of them come from Dr. Teal's. The first is a set. These are from Dr. Teal's. I've got the foaming bath and the pure Epsom salt from their Soothe and Sleep lavender line. I don't love the scent of lavender. It's not my favorite, but I powered through anyways. What a hero I am. I think the salt works really well, in particular with just soaks in general. I was using them before I was pregnant to help with the aggressive like muscle toning that I was doing as I was preparing for my first weightlifting competition. So I like this stuff a lot, but I don't particularly love the scent. The foaming bath was okay. It wasn't like super bubbly or exceptional, but like it was fine. So I did the job, but I wouldn't necessarily buy this again. However, I have this guy, this giant bag. This is their Calm and Serenity salts, which is rose essential. You guys know me, I like good rose scent. Surprisingly, this is not my favorite scent from the line. I prefer their like orange citrus scent, but this is pleasant. Definitely worked through it first because it was my lesser of the two that I currently own, but definitely something that I think if I couldn't get the orange citrus one and they had this one in stock, I would buy it with no real problems. Again, the salts I feel like are very helpful for just soothing sore, tired muscles or lower backs or ankles that are now cankles, all the fun things that I am currently dealing with. Our final bath item that we have is just like a super generic, questionable, had it for too long, bubble bath in vanilla sugar. Nothing special. It's like a generic vanilla scent, not like warm vanilla sugar, but like off-brand vanilla. It was fine. I would mix it with an Epsom salt just to go ahead and like get it used up and have like a little bit of bubbles, but nothing special. Just glad that it's finished. All right, my friend, there you have it. Those are all of the items that I have recently finished off in my life. As always, I appreciate you being here and tuning in, and I will talk to you in the next video real soon.